Today I'm reacting to your Friday Night Smackdown Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, Smackdown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. Which means, yes, we will be doing a Hot Takes episode immediately after Backlash, so make sure that you're following me on X for that. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am incredibly confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And don't forget, if you want more than just daily wrestling content, come over to the Patreon, patreon.com/SantisApp, where you're going to get so much more extra content that we can never upload here on YouTube because it would just get blocked due to copyright. So go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Let's start the video and read your stupid shit. Cena is doing an excellent job bringing newer fans up to speed a bit on the history of Cena versus Randy without literally going through all of the history. It's helping those who did not live through that feel the gravity of this potential final matchup. So when I read this hot take, I initially felt very dumb that I didn't even think about the fact that many people that are watching WWE today have not actually experienced John Cena versus Randy Orton. I just thought that automatically we all knew the gravity of this and that we've all experienced this feud before, but the fact of the matter is that we haven't gotten a match between John Cena and Randy Orton since 2014. We are talking about 11 years ago. That is a lot of time. That is a lot of time for new fans to come into the product. That is a lot of time for fans that did witness Randy Orton and John Cena to fall out of love with the product, and they might not even be watching anymore. So even though when I see these packages where they're telling us the history of John Cena and Randy Orton, I'm like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I gotta remember that this is important for a huge subset of wrestling fans that are watching today, and I do agree that John Cena is doing a very good job at helping us understand the gravity and the importance of this match by telling us that our childhood is going to literally die on Saturday. I'm trying to go back to when I first started watching wrestling. If there was a feud that had a long, rich history that I didn't really get to understand the entire gravity of, and I have to go back to WrestleMania 19. Mind you, I started watching wrestling just shortly after WrestleMania 18, where we had a match between Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan that was billed as 20 years in the making, and I wasn't part of the 20 years in the making because I was literally like 10 years old, but all of the vignettes and the back and forth between those guys really helped me understand the gravity of the match, and I do believe that WWE is doing a pretty darn good job at doing the same thing this time around in a modern era for fans that didn't get to witness John Cena versus Randy Orton at the height of their rivalry. So yeah, shout out to WWE. I feel like they're doing a really great job at encapsulating the history and the importance of this feud, and both of these guys without just completely regurgitating a giant encyclopedia of knowledge. 25 years of a rivalry might come to an end on Saturday. I know they're saying it's their last time that they will face off, but I still think it's the last time that they will face off for the title. Hopefully we still get to see them face off one last time in December. I just can't help but just be married to the idea that John Cena versus Randy Orton should be John Cena's last match of his career. Their careers are just too damn well intertwined, and it would just be so poetic for these guys that have been dancing parallel from one another to finally just take each other out in one last Western standoff. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that we're getting this match for the WWE Championship, but I also want it to happen one more time. Sure, there's a list of other people that I'm sure would be good to retire John Cena, but there's only one guy that's like truly, genuinely the perfect guy to retire John Cena, and it's the legend killer, the guy that he's been fighting with and feuding with for 25 years, Randy Orton. I genuinely believe that this match wouldn't be happening yet if it wasn't for Backlash being in St. Louis. I feel like it just so happens to be that the stars have aligned in a certain way where it makes sense to give us John Cena versus Randy Orton this early on in John Cena's retirement tour championship run as a heel, but I still want it one more time. Am I being selfish? Maybe, but I also don't think that I'm being illogical. I can't get behind Santos Escobar no matter what he does. I cannot click with his character or what he's supposed to do. Escobar has not been interesting since Santos Escobar Carlito segment. I would say that Santos Escobar and Lyra Valkyria were just sort of in the same position where everyone knew that they were excellent workers and yet they were really struggling to connect with the crowd. At the end of the day, connecting with the arena, that is the most important thing. You can be a subpar wrestler, but if you've connected with everyone in attendance, you will get more opportunities. days. It's just how it goes. And at least we're seeing Lyra Valkyria finally connect with the fans with this feud with Becky Lynch. But no matter what Santos Escobar does, this man cannot find a way to connect with the crowd. And it's not his work in the ring because it's fantastic. Hell, his backstage segments have been entertaining, the stuff with Berto and whatnot. But the second his music hits, the second he makes it out to the ring, it is literally a negative pop. Sound gets sucked out of the arena. And even though he's doing a great job at the role that he's given, the crowd just refuses to connect with him. And I don't know whose fault that is, really. Update: security caught the quote fan who threw the bottle at John Cena. So I took the liberty of doing a little bit of art and doing the little arrow with dickhead written on it. I did confirm it is that guy because this was actually originally a video and I saw him doing the whole motion of throwing the bottle. So it's not like I'm just randomly circling a dude and calling him a dickhead. That is actually the dickhead that threw this bottle. First and foremost, huge shout out to John Cena for taking this moment that made this crowd look just terrible and turning it into something very special, because John Cena played this off like a consummate professional and turned it into something great for his promo. But don't do this. This is awful. I like the taste of beer that he had because as somebody that likes to drink low calorie beer, Ultra is fantastic, but don't throw it at the performers. That's just, honestly, it's fucking low. Like, what was the play here? Oh, maybe I'll hit him. Okay, great. Then I'll get sued into the ground. Like, what was the end goal here? To get a little bit of attention? Congratulations, you fucking got it. I understand why WWE is doing the Cena and Orton feud now, but it has unfortunately been way too rushed. My number one and my number two GOATs of all time are facing each other for one last time ever tomorrow, and it feels like the feud hasn't even fully started. I can't help but feel the exact same way. It just sort of feels like we are in a position to have to rush this because of where Backlash was scheduled and where WrestleMania was scheduled as well, giving us literally only 3 weeks to build this monumentally large and important feud is kind of criminal. Mind you, a regular PLE cycle would have given us only 1 or 2 more episodes of Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw, but I feel like those 2 extra episodes would have definitely gone a long way at making this feud feel a lot more special, even though it is a special feud because it's John Cena versus Randy Orton. But I just, like you're saying, since this is the last time, I would have wished that they would have been given a little bit more leeway, a bit more runway to truly develop this into something even more special than what it already is. This is a swan song, not just for John Cena. It's a swan song for Randy Orton's biggest opponent of his career, and it's a swan song for many people's childhood. John Cena was talking very figuratively, but also literally, like the childhoods of many wrestling fans die this Saturday at Backlash, not necessarily because John Cena's gonna win, but because this is the last time that these two guys are going to face each other. This is the end of the road for many people's childhoods who grew up with their childhood being identified by a feud with John Cena and Randy Orton pretty much going on at all times in the WWE. And that ends. And it's crazy to think that that ends with a three-week build, man. Like, I wish it would have been longer. This SmackDown was genuinely very good with great matches, segments, and an elite promo to end it. I don't think there was anything bad. The only reason it won't get its respect is because the crowd was awful. I feel like I find myself complaining about crowds a little bit too often. You be the judge. I didn't think that they were very good, but you be the judge and you let me know down in the comments if this was an abnormally subdued crowd. I was just expecting something a little bit louder on the go home of a PLE, something a little bit louder on a show where Alexa Bliss made her return, and I just don't feel like she got the pop that she probably should have. But anyways, I'm going to leave that to you. You make the decision and you let me know down in the comments below. I agree. This was a better episode of Friday Night SmackDown than what we've been used to, but I couldn't help but think that once we got to the end of the 2-hour mark, that I was like, oh shit, there's still another hour left. 3 hours just still feels entirely way too long. And I'm just kind of counting down the days that SmackDown goes back to 2 hours, because it's supposed to go back to 2 hours, I believe at some point in June or July. I don't remember. Damian Priest should turn heel again. He has hit a glass ceiling as a babyface, and it just doesn't work when he's no longer feuding against the Judgment Day. I disagree when you say that him as a babyface doesn't work when he's not feuding against the Judgment Day. I think that we've only gotten the opportunity to see him feud against Gunther and like Drew McIntyre, and that's it. I feel like there's still a lot more people that we can see him feud against before we fully make that decision. But I do actually kind of agree with your wording in terms of him reaching a glass ceiling. Like, as a babyface, do I see Damian Priest getting more over than he currently is? Do I see him getting better? Do I see him giving us more impactful storylines and feuds and matches than what he's giving us right now as a babyface? I dare say that maybe the answer is maybe not. I feel like there might legitimately be a glass ceiling there that might be really difficult for somebody like Damian Priest to break through. Not impossible, but I feel like the ceiling is there. I think it's visible for all of us. I don't know that turning heel necessarily breaks him through that ceiling, but at the very least, it would be a change of pace for us. Smackdown is the tag team brand. I'd say probably 3 of the top 5 tag teams are on SmackDown and 6 or 7 of the top 10. I mean, I feel like all of the top teams are on SmackDown. What does Raw have? Like the New Day? Yeah, that's one of the top tag teams, but like that's kind of about it. All the other tag teams that are on Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, just pale in comparison as to what they're doing here on Friday Night SmackDown. Like right down to Pretty Deadly, which is like one of the lower teams on the rung. I feel like they're better than most tag teams that are over on Monday Night Raw. And it's not necessarily because of their in-ring talent. It's just because they've been booked better, because they've actually tried on Friday Night SmackDown. Booking just goes a long way at making teams feel special, feel dangerous, feel entertaining, but they've just not tried on Monday Night Raw. So the tag team division, and then by default, the tag teams within that division just feel meaningless. Oh my God! Oh! Okay, that was filthy. That was and beautiful. Man, I love that spirit bomb. Oh yeah. Woo! Oh. That, folks, was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively on patreon.com/SantisApp. This week, we're looking at maybe the most insane backyard wrestling match that I've ever seen from BXW Backyard Wrestling. John Cena versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. CM Punk versus Raven from Ring of Honor in a Clockwork Orange Funhouse match. Keith Lee versus Penta from AAW Pro. And Will Ospreay versus Speedball Mike Bailey from TNA back in 2021. You're going to be getting all of this, plus the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble watch-alongs that we're doing, and now we're starting a new series where we're watching every single John Cena WWE Championship victory of his career. So come check it out. That's patreon.com/SantisApp. There's a link in the description or a link in the pinned comment. I'm confident that if you try it even for just 1 month, that you are going to fall in love with the content and the community. But that's enough. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. Let's get you back to the video. I can see it now. Black will win the United States Championship at SummerSlam. And I think the reason why you can see it and I can see it is because I'm seeing progression for Alistair Black, which is something that we've talked about Rusev, where it feels like Rusev is cornered to only beating up Alpha Academy. Meanwhile, with Alistair Black, we're seeing him take like one step forward and then another step forward by going from the Miz to Carmelo, and I see him moving up the chain, and that to me is the best way to handle a return like this. I did think it was kind of weird that he won with a roll-up, but hell, the Black Mass that he hit the Miz with was absolutely beautiful, and it did protect Carmelo Hayes in the process because he didn't get his ass knocked out. It did mean that he lost because he just simply got distracted as opposed to getting his ass whooped. So it does open us up for more Carmelo Hayes versus Alistair Black matches, which I personally do want to see. But I will say, it already feels like they're handling Alistair Black better this time around than they did all of those years ago in his first attempt at the main roster. It already feels like he's in a better place with a better trajectory. I wish that they would put Alexa Bliss in the main event scene. I really enjoy her. She has great promos, great charisma, and a great wrestler. I miss her Goddess era and when she was in the title picture. So here's the thing. I don't mind the idea of her being in the title picture because of everything that you said. She is fantastic, and if you told me that she's going after the WWE Women's Championship, I would put two thumbs up and I would say, excellent, that's great, I'm here to watch it. However, we live in a different era now. Things have changed dramatically since she's come back because now we have a women's mid-card. A women's mid-card that Alexa Bliss could be a huge asset in, much like how we're seeing over on Monday Night Raw with Becky Lynch being a massive asset to not just making the Intercontinental Championship feel more important, but raising the division and making the champion finally feel important and help make the champion connect with the fans. Alexa Bliss could hopefully do that with the United States Championship as well, or they could put her in the main event scene, and I'd be fine with that. She's just such a versatile versatile wrestler that could be used to benefit many different areas and many different divisions within the WWE. But again, if they put her in the main event picture, do you think I'm going to fight it? Hell no, I'm down. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to just be that in 2025. If they were to put her in the US title picture, I feel like that would do wonders for that division. I feel like she could make more of an impact right now in the women's mid-card scene than she can in the women's main event scene, because the women's main event scene, it's good. Like it's solid. It's fine. It doesn't need any help. The women's mid-card, on the other hand, it needs a little bit of bliss, maybe you could say. Man, SmackDown really needs to go back to 2 hours as soon as possible. It starts to drag on quite a bit until the main event. So we were just talking about that in this episode and pretty much most episodes over the last 5 months. When we get to the 2 hour mark, I kind of have to sigh and kind of just pump myself up to get ready to watch yet another hour. I'm also ready to go back to 2 hours, but it is fascinating because I was one of the people, along with many people, beating the drum saying, I cannot wait for 3 hour SmackDown. An extra hour is going to fix everything because we're going to have more time for everybody. Oh my God, I can't wait for then Raw to go to 3 hours. Hell no. All right, let's bring SmackDown back down to 2 hours and keep Raw exactly how it is. I know that the extra hour will probably mean that less people get opportunities, but frankly, with the extra full hour, it's not as if those people that need the opportunities are getting those opportunities anyway. They're not doing a great job at utilizing the extra hour of TV, so I'd rather just end the show earlier. Los Garzas had the main event match, and they still didn't fully pull the trigger on the Berto turn. It's starting to feel like the Theory turn a couple of months ago. I actually disagree. I feel like they're actually like taking steps forward pretty much every single episode of Friday Night SmackDown. With the Austin Theory stuff, they never really took steps forward. It was always just hinted at. It was teased. It was implied that Austin Theory wasn't very happy. Berto, on the other hand, he is getting progressively more and more defiant of Santos Escobar to the point where he finally got physical with Santos and walked away. So we are seeing progressions forward, but I kind of agree. Maybe they're taking their sweet ass time here. And we know when they take too long, they tend to forget storylines and pretend like they never happened. And then they don't revisit them in time. And then people stop caring. But I feel like with this one, they have a little bit more grace period with me to fully pull the trigger here. He just had the reaction of the year and he doesn't even know it yet. This is like the only guy that like popped properly for Alexa Bliss. I wish that more people were like this guy right here in that arena, because Alexa Bliss deserved a lot more of a reaction than what she got from Dayton, Ohio. By the way, as a Canadian, for a second, I thought that they were in Daytona. Turns out that's in Florida. Okay. All right. Didn't know that. I guess there's a Dayton and a Daytona. By the way, there's a Miami, Florida and a Miami, Ohio. What are they doing over there? Why is Ohio trying to be Miami? Just be what you are. The worst state in the country. I'm kidding. That's a joke. All right, Ohioans, relax. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm the 51st state anyway. Charlotte chatting with Alexa, or even that interaction she had with Jade, was legit interesting. Charlotte can be interesting, but damn, can she stay away from the title picture for a few months? I'm not a Charlotte hater, but I don't really begrudge people for not being a fan either. I think you put this perfectly. This is really eloquently written as well. I also am not a Charlotte hater, but I could also use a little bit of a reset and have Charlotte go do something else. I wouldn't mind Charlotte doing a little bit of a side quest. I'm with you. When she was staring down Jade, I'm like, I'm in. I'm interested. I don't know what this looks like yet, but I'm down. When she was chatting with Alexa Bliss in the back, I'm like, I'm double down. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're feuding with each other or if they've got some plans in the future. Either way, I'm intrigued. And see, you can make Charlotte at least a little bit intriguing without just automatically defaulting by putting her into the title picture time after time after time after time. Fraxiom are such an amazing asset to Friday Night SmackDown. I can't wait for them to showcase more of what they can do coming off the biggest win that they've had on SmackDown. How is that for a vote of confidence? Getting called up from NXT and then within just 3 weeks beating the World Tag Team Champions, a set of champions that are the champions of not just Friday Night SmackDown, but of the best tag team division in all of WWE. That, to me, signals that WWE knows what they have with Fraxiom, that this is a team that they can absolutely build a division around. So I'm happy for these guys. I'm happy that we're, by the way, seeing NXT talent actually being used properly and being pushed upon call-ups, unlike they've done in previous years. This is why I'm happy with them not doing the draft. Just call them up. not when you have to because it's draft season, but just call them up when you got something for them, like they've done here with Fraxiom. If you're gonna have Alexa Bliss with the twisted gimmick, then just have her with the Wyatt. But if not, then give her back her goddess gimmick for a new one. I'm with you. If the Wyatt Six are not going to be involved, me personally, I would also prefer the goddess or, like you said, a brand new gimmick. I am expecting the Wyatts in some way, shape, or form. I feel like you can't just ignore the fact that Alexa Bliss has this rich history with Bray Wyatt, and we can't ignore the glitches that were happening the last time that Alexa Bliss was on TV years ago and right after the Royal Rumble. They're teasing it too much, and if they were to completely ignore it and pretend like it's never really been teased, then I just think it'd be a huge disservice to fans. And honestly, I think we're at the position where Alexa Bliss doesn't need the Wyatt Six, but holy hell does the Wyatt Six need Alexa Bliss. Solo Sakoa shouldn't be taking all of these pins. The guy pinned both Roman, Cody, and Cena not too long ago. I don't think that there is a bigger fall from grace that I've seen happen so quickly over the last 5 years in the WWE than Solo Sakoa. Dude, you hit it on the head. In the span of what, like 8 months, he pinned Cena, Cody, and Roman Reigns. And what has he been doing now? He's the lackey of Jacob Fatu. He's the lackey of the United States champion, and he's out there just to take pins to protect Jacob Fatu from taking pins. Like, that is a wild drop off from Solo Sikoa. I feel bad, honestly. I don't know what you can do to fix him. I don't think that you can. I feel like the car has already been pushed over the hill. It's just gonna roll until the end of his career at this point. The Miz and Melo stuff is awesome, and it makes me invested in Carmelo Hayes. The idea of a character like the Miz, who is historically has always been selfish, genuinely caring about the elevation of a younger guy like Melo is super interesting. I didn't really see it that way, but when you categorize it like that, like, yeah, it's very interesting to see somebody that has been so egotistical like the Miz put some time and care into building the next generation of the Miz, just better in ring. But yeah, every Friday night SmackDown, this is one of the more interesting parts. The stuff with Alistair Black certainly helps this feud as well in this story arc. I'm curious if they're ever going to do the Miz versus Carmelo Hayes in some capacity. But all in all, I feel like ever since Carmelo Hayes won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that they've been doing a great job at slowly building the character of Carmelo Hayes, slowly but surely. Not this super mega push, but also like he gets progression every single week, and that to me is a win at this point of the year. I don't normally watch NXT, but I love how they're using Fraxiom on SmackDown, and it makes me want to go back and rewatch all of their previous matches. Pretty much for the last 12 months, you can go to any NXT Premium Live event and there is a Fraxiom match, and I guarantee you that it's the best match of the night. So yeah, have at it, dude. You're gonna have a great time. Go back and watch as many Fraxiom matches as you can from NXT in the past like 16 months, I would say. A potential Berto solo run would officially make SmackDown's mid-card 100% better than Raw's. So this is interesting because I don't know right now if Berto were to turn babyface and go off on his own. I don't know where he would fit. I almost feel like he might fit better in the Monday Night Raw mid-card picture because that SmackDown one feels just incredibly log-jammed, especially around the United States Championship picture. Maybe this is the reason why they're just kind of turtling to the Berto turn. Maybe they just know that there's nowhere to put him at the moment, so we just have to like move at a snail's pace. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comment section, where would you put Berto right now if you were to have him to go off on his own? Nia may be number one contender, but the vision is clear. I agree with you. I think the vision absolutely needs to be this. However, I am of the mind that Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton, as unpopular of a choice of a match as that is, I think it's necessary. Not for us, the fans, but necessary for making Tiffany Stratton feel more like an actual, like, viable champion, considering that, well, that she's never really properly beaten Nia Jax. She cashed in a Money in the Bank briefcase, yes, and then she pinned her in a tag team match, but she's never actually beaten Nia Jax in a proper one-on-one setting. So let's get her the ability to be able to notch that off of her resume so that she can go on and continue to have a more fruitful championship reign, but eventually, yeah, lose it to Naomi. I'm with you there. Drew with another all-time meme. Give Drew McIntyre any time that he wants on a microphone in backstage segments, because like 9 out of 10 times, it's the most talked about best thing on whatever happened on that episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Drew McIntyre mocking the all gas, no breaks, you know what I mean, was just comedy gold. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this episode episode of Hot Takes. This probably aired a bit earlier than you're used to, but we have to make room for Backlash and the Backlash review. Make sure you come over to the YouTube live stream so that you can watch Backlash with me and other wrestling fans around the world. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.